agree that we are staying disciplined and we are targeting and focusing on messaging to women every single day on the campaign trail. The top issues for women in this country right now are inflation, our economy, and immigration. And those are the issues that President Trump is talking about every single day on the campaign trail. Women want more money in our pockets. We want to be able to provide for our family. We want our children to be able to afford the American dream. That's what President Trump is promising. We don't want violent criminals lurking in our neighborhoods. We want those illegal immigrant criminals deported from our country. That's what President Trump is promising as well. We want a president who's going to stand with our local law enforcement in our communities, not defund them like Kamala Harris. And I would just add, when it comes to targeting women and messaging to them, Kamala Harris's top surrogate, Mark Cuban, just this morning said that President Trump does not surround himself with intelligent and strong women, essentially saying any woman, including myself, who surrounds himself with President Trump is dumb and weak. I think those comments are insulting, and I think it's going to drive even more women to the polls for Donald Trump in the next 5 days.
And of course, Caroline, you know this, but Mark Cuban isn't on the ticket. What I was asking about in the past is the ways that Trump has talked about women, and of course, the way that Nikki Haley is saying now that there just needs to be more discipline around this. I wonder if you guys think it wouldn't have been beneficial to be able to get her out on the campaign trail, and where was the scheduling disconnect on that?
Well, Nikki Haley has been campaigning for President Trump. She had a primetime speaking slot. She had a primetime speaking slot at the RNC. She's been sending out fundraising emails and robocalls. And if you roll the tape of her comments in that interview earlier, she said why she, as a woman, is supporting President Trump. And it's because President Trump has solutions to the problems that women are facing in this country, and Kamala Harris does not. So Nikki Haley has endorsed President Trump. That is what women across the country know. And we're very excited and proud to have that endorsement on this team.
But would it be helpful to get her out on the campaign trail side by side with him, show that unity from the primary, and also maybe get a few skeptical Trump voters who were Haley voters back in the fold?
Well, we are having great people join President Trump on the campaign trail every single day, including everyday Americans and women who have lost their children at the hands of migrant criminals, everyday Americans and women who are struggling to afford groceries and gas and want President Trump to make this country affordable again. Their testimony is just as powerful as any politician's, and we're proud to be joined by them on the campaign trail every day.
I want to revisit the Madison Square Garden rally. Since then, musical artist Nicky Jam has withdrawn his endorsement of Donald Trump, citing those comments from a comedian about Puerto Rico. But the Bulwark has reporting that the comedian in question had his remarks in part vetted by the campaign because he was prepared to call Harris at one point an offensive slur, but that was spiked by the campaign. So were these remarks reviewed?
The entirety of the remarks were not vetted by the campaign. The slur that we did absolutely condemn was a side conversation someone on the campaign had about those remarks. President Trump has condemned the remarks. Our campaign immediately condemned the joke. And again, this was a joke that was made by a comedian. I wish the media would focus more on the truths that were shared by many of the phenomenal speakers we had at Madison Square Garden. The room was packed with 20,000 great Americans of all races and religions, ages, men, women who came to hear from the list of speakers that we had and were incredibly enthused with the program that was put together. And most importantly, were impressed by Mrs. Trump's remarks that night, and also President Trump, who was offering to restore the American dream and make America safe and strong and wealthy again.
Just button this up for us then. Did no one on the campaign read a prepared set of remarks that included that joke about Puerto Rico? It was just never seen by y'all.
That's correct.
Okay, we heard that, of course, our own team was at a comedy show where we had heard that line sort of rehearsed from the comedian, but you guys weren't aware of that, you're saying?
That's correct, yes.
Why not just apologize? The Archbishop of San Juan posted a letter basically saying that he wants the former president to say he's sorry. I know that it's a comedian who said it, but why not just have the former president come out and say, this isn't how I think, this isn't what I feel, I'm sorry. I've never really heard him say those words.
He has said that. He said he didn't know who this comedian was. He didn't like the joke at all, and he doesn't agree with it. He's done a lot for Puerto Rico when he was president of the United States, and our campaign came out immediately and said that this joke, of course, does not reflect President Trump's views or the views of the campaign. Again, this was a joke that was made by a comedian. I would like to hear the media ask the same questions of Kamala Harris's spokesperson if she is going to come out and strongly condemn Joe Biden for calling more than half of the country garbage. I know she went to a microphone yesterday in an attempt to do that, but it was very poor. It was very weak. She essentially said Joe Biden cleaned up the remarks. There's no cleaning it up. It's on video for the whole world to see. He labeled more than half of the country who support President Trump as garbage, as trash. That's despicable rhetoric, and it's not the first time. You had Hillary Clinton in 2016 calling Trump supporters a basket of deplorables, and even worse, over the past 8 years, the Democrats have likened President Trump to one of the worst mass murderers in the world, Hitler, calling his supporters fascists and Nazis. That's despicable rhetoric that has led to political violence in this country, including 2 heinous assassination attempts on President Trump's life. I guess the joy at the Kamala campaign headquarters is gone, but there's a lot of it here, I will tell you that.
I just want to be clear. Vice President Harris did say she disavowed those remarks. President Biden says he was taken out of context. But if we're talking about name-calling supporters, on the campaign trail Monday, J.D. Vance called Harris and her supporters a pejorative word. So do you condemn that name-calling as well?
I'm not sure which remark you are referring to, but what I will say...
somethings.
Well, what I will tell you is that President Trump has been slandered and lied about from the left.
But his own running mate, who is actually on the ballot, is saying this.
More than any politician in American history, they have likened him to Hitler. They have called him a threat to democracy, which one of the attempted assassins on President Trump's life echoed that same exact rhetoric on his social media accounts. There is political violence coming from one side, and it's coming from the left at Donald Trump and his supporters, and it's despicable. And President Trump is out there on the campaign trail every single day talking about the issues that matter. We have a joyful campaign. We have an optimistic vision for this country, to make it great and affordable and wealthy and safe and strong again. And that's why President Trump today in 2024 is more popular than he's ever been since 2016, even despite these heinous and vitriolic rhetoric aimed at him for 8 years now.
I want to ask you,